recordings. So it's Monday. We don't usually meet on Monday. And so we've kind of cut your time a day short since you didn't have a full week since we talked together. We're all together talking last.
Yeah.
But congratulations, everyone, for having your SMART goal. You all have it. You know what it is. Good job, Michael, on texting it to everybody.
Thank you, and thank
well
you for
before the deadline
and reminding me, because I'd like it had flown the coop. But I was gonna say I never responded to what you said, and that definitely makes sense. But what's interesting for me is like when I say need to whatever, it's almost like my checklist, and it's like, okay, I needed this. Here's my checklist. It's like it's a positive for me, not a negative. Whereas like you said something about maybe it would be easier to, I'm like, oh no, that's not believable to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
No, I understand like the should, that's almost like you're forcing yourself, Yeah. But for me, when it's like a need, it's almost a to-do. Like, here's my checkbox, let me accomplish and mark it off. But I didn't really know how to put that all in a text. So I was waiting for our meeting to say all that. But
yeah.
No, I loved the feedback, and I completely get the wording and stuff. So
and you don't ever have to reply in the text. I like to give people a chance to kind of like percolate on some of the ideas or concepts or questions that I ask and that sort of thing. So I'm never like expecting or like, whoa, someone didn't reply or something like that.
Yeah.
But it is so interesting though to notice that the same sentence, the same thought can go through different people's heads and produce a completely different feeling.
Right.
And the meaning behind the words is completely different. And that's going to drive completely different actions and results. So that's just important to note because like as we go through this, we're doing this in a group format. And so it's helpful to hear what other people's thoughts are, but also it's never going to be like, oh, that's the one that works for them. So now I'm just going to take that one. And so it's just going to work for me the same way it works for them because all of our past experiences and are going to change what those words mean to us. And it is like, it's funny, you really pinpointed like that one word, that word need. And for you, it's like, it's so objective, like an item on a list to be checked. And it's almost like, maybe in a different sentence, if you say need, maybe it would feel more like obligatory or something like that. It's almost like the tone or the intonation or like that situation. Specifically, it's that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Beth. She's getting it. She's getting on. Hey.
Almost got it.
There she is.
I'm back. You're fine. You're fine. I can mute this so that they don't pick it up. Sorry, we're just.
You're good.
You're good.
I was getting my internet going for a minute there, so we're just getting geared up. But just to pick up really where we left off, Michael, do you want to just share with the group like what is your SMART goal? Because that was pretty much where we left off last time.
Let me find where I sent it to all of us.
Because we got to do a model for Julia and Beth with that goal in the result line, but we didn't really get to totally go through yours. So I want to make sure that we get to do that today.
Let's see. Okay. And it was funny what you said, because I did kind of go with the simple, like kind of just my monthly thing, but at the same time, because it's the holidays, a lot of people are delaying orders or not doing anything because they're doing Christmas, and that instead of buying skincare for themselves for Christmas or whatever, they're delaying so they can buy Christmas for family. So a lot of people think that this is actually a busy time, and it's really not. And so each month, and this is just a lot and it's hard to explain, but basically I have two buckets, and one bucket is what I buy as a consultant or what retail is. And then the other bucket is what my customers put in. And so I have to have a certain number in that bucket and in my consultant bucket to make the 35% commission. And otherwise I'll only make 10 or 15% commission. I think it would not be much at all. So every month I have auto ships, but I always, and Julia, I hope feels this, but I always want them to know, like, you can delay. Like, it's not, don't do the auto ship if it, isn't it right and everything. So I start off with, hey, you have auto ship, let's delay until you need whatever. Or, ask how they're doing on products or whatever. So each month I'm reaching out and everything. So I actually, with this one, I started with the result, because I felt like sometimes I'll start with the thought or the fact and I get stuck. So I started with the result, which was I will make the full 35% commission earnings. And you said in the text message too, I do have until the very end of the month, the last day. But as a personal goal, I like to get that within the first week or two, just so I know it's there and I don't do a crazy month end closing, if that makes sense. So the 18th for me is perfect. But okay, so that's the result.
So I'm going to go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to go ahead and share the screen because I'll go ahead and model it out for everybody. So that we can all kind of practice together like we did for the other one. So starting with the result is perfect when you have a specific goal in mind. And that's what we're doing with this, when we're with this specific model. I just threw in right here on that the same kind of page. I just threw in the result and just help me make sure I have it written correctly before we run to the other ones, that you're going to make I guess it's the quota needed to earn your 35% commission, and you're saying and you want to do it at the same time. Okay. Okay. That's what I wasn't sure. I didn't know if you were going to, how that was going to work for you.
I have the full month, but I'm going to do it by then.
Got it. Okay. So that's, starting with the result line. Got it. So I know that you had texted to us and maybe you just want to say and maybe they've changed or been updated. What actions?
So the actions will definitely be reach out to new prospects as well as my old prospects, or current instead of old, maybe.
Sure.
And then also, just when I'm out and about to talk to people, I have samples always on me to pass samples out, to pass my business card out, those kinds of things.
Samples and business cards on me to pass out, like in like social, or just like in life.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
Like confetti.
Yeah, you're like, and let it rain.
Yeah. And that was kind of all I had so far.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
And then the feeling, it sounds weird, but to me it's like this contentness, like it's because it's the goal. Oh crap, sorry, my battery's low. I'm gonna have to get my charger. Hold on. Because it's not like, I don't know how to put it. Like, I'm content because like I know it's what I have to reach. It's not super exciting because I hope to get further than that, if that makes sense. But it's like this, like I'm content with where I need to start and end up, if that makes sense.
Yes. And give this question a check for you. Is it content that you need to feel in order to reach out to your new and current prospects and make sure you keep your samples and business cards on you all the time? Like, is content the feeling that's going to drive you to take those actions?
So maybe put eager.
And there's no right answer. Again, like this, Beth, we were talking about this before you hopped on, Beth, but like one thought might create a totally different feeling in different people, the same exact wording, you know?
Yeah.
So one feeling that, you know, if I feel content, maybe I watch Netflix. If you feel content, maybe you go stuff your bag full of business cards and samples.
Yeah. I mean, I think content is a good neutral for me, because it's not a happy, excited, but it's like I know I could reach out to someone without feeling pushy or eager or whatever, because I'm at a place of like peace at where my goal is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I still
you're
feel
not
like it's
like,
kind of the word.
like you're not feeling desperate. You're not feeling like
Right.
super high or super low. You're kind of
Right.
just like
Mild. Yeah.
so.
But
Yeah,
also, like how you're explaining it seems like you feel very clear. You know, like
Yeah.
your goal is very unmuddied. You know, like it's very set.
Yeah.
it's like a drama
I know what you mean.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like this is what it is. It's almost like I might even for me describe it as just feeling acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
But try content out. You know, content's the word that's coming up for you.
Yeah.
Try that out. See
Okay.
when you go, you know, this week or next week or, you know, tomorrow, and you start reaching out, notice like, how am I feeling? And notice what is the thought that you have right before you stuff your bag with samples, right
Okay.
before you pass out those business cards. And that's what we're going to check right now too. Like, what thought can you have in your head that's going to make you feel content?
Yeah. Well, and then so looking back at it, you know, and I put I need, and we talked about that, and I still feel like it's a checkbox thing, but I think
Sure.
a better wording will be I will follow up to make sure I get the orders needed. Because I mean, there's no doubt I will. You know what I mean? Will you get me the charger for this?
Okay, so the thought we're testing is I will follow up to get the orders I need.
Yeah.
And is that thought, when you're thinking that, making you feel content? Like,
Yeah. It's just like a there feeling. Does that make sense? Like just a, like it's not a bad feeling, but it's not like a super hyped up, I'm going to have a great, humongous, big month, if that makes sense, you know?
yeah, to me it sounds like a lot of like acceptance. Like there's not a lot of drama around it. There's not a lot of intensity around it. And intensity, like we talked about, can sometimes, especially with negative emotion, just be that emotion multiplied by your resistance to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not, you know, a lot of like resistance or arguing with this. It's like, this is just what it's going to be. I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind. I will
Yeah.
do it. I will follow up to get the orders that I need. And I might even simplify this, because, you know, you've also included the actions of the business cards, the samples, the passing out. I might just say, I know I'll get the orders that I need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Because it's not just the follow-up, right?
Yeah, right. I will get the orders, yeah.
Or just I will. Yeah, I will get. And sometimes when you get these, you can find sometimes like really easy to remember sentences for your head to come back to. And it becomes like, you know, like a mantra, an affirmation. But it's more than that, because we're not just like, ooh, a power of positive thinking. We're like, no,
Yeah.
I want to choose this thought so that I can meet my goal and get these orders by December 18th. Like it's more than just, I am a good person, right? It's not just, but you are reprogramming your brain by coming back to this thought every time you're like, oh my God, there's so much to do. Just be like, I'll get the orders I need.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. And then the, you know, the circumstance, the actual fact is, you know, basically I have to meet that quota in order to make the 35% commission.
Yeah. And when we had done Julia's and Beth, it was more about like, I set this goal to do this. Yours is almost like RNF set this bar for you to meet.
Yeah.
And you're being like, I want to meet that bar. So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So work with this model this week. Try and align with this model and notice like, hey, when I go and do this work of reaching out to the prospects and passing out the samples, am I thinking I'll get the orders I need? And is the feeling that comes with that content or maybe something else?
Yeah.
Because especially when we start to explore this and you start trying to put names on feelings, you're like, it's a good feeling. Sometimes you're just like, it's one of the good ones, you know,
Yeah.
and it's hard to sometimes get more specific because no one's spending time teaching us like, what are all the emotions? And the truth is we all feel them differently,
Yeah.
which apparently is going to be a theme tonight. Like content for me and how I feel it might be a little different than how you feel it. So all of us get to practice that awareness of, you know, well, is this content for me or is this actually, you know, apathy, or is this, you know, where's that line between all of those emotions that might be similar and edging on each other and that sort of thing. So
Okay. Yeah.
work with that one. Yay, we all have SMART goals. Julia and or Beth, how was it going this week with y'all practicing your intentional model on the goal that you set? Like, were y'all finding yourself thinking the thought that you wanted to be thinking? I'll just scroll back here and find what it was.
I think I thought less about that and more about my SMART goal and trying to like take next steps for that. So I did some of that, but I didn't do any extra or any additional models per se. But,
oh yeah. And let me be clear, not that you need to like write more out, but did you find yourself, like I just kind of scrolled back to yours, Beth, did you find yourself thinking the thought like, I am going to meet the right person in the programs department at Hospice Atlanta?
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. And did you find yourself feeling confident when you're thinking that?
Yeah, for the most part. They were like, you know, you're sending emails out and it's like traditionally really busy for everybody right now. So I'm like, hopefully they'll get back to me. So maybe confident isn't like my first feeling, but I do feel confident that I will eventually get there. Yes.
Yes. And
but not in every moment.
Right.
And yeah, I
And
feel real stupid. The feeling that I wrote was calm, and I would say that has certainly come and gone.
Well, the cool thing about life and what you'll start to notice is that you're going to have a million models going on at any given time because you're not just running one thought through your head. You've got like one thought that comes and goes, followed by another one, followed by another one, followed by another one. And it's like one leads to the next. And there's models around all of those thoughts. So there's a bunch of different models running, overlapping each other, mixing together, getting confusing in there. That's why, like Beth, you say like, yeah, I definitely felt confident, but then there's these other feelings coming in too. It's like there you had the thought, I know I'm gonna meet the right person, and you felt confident, and then half a split second later, 17 more thoughts come through. But what if I don't? But I haven't yet. And all that happens like literally in the snap of a finger. That all those models are running together. And it's like, yeah, I did feel confident, and I felt doubt, and I felt fear, and I felt this, and I felt that. And that's okay. Like, that's just for you to come back and have to notice like, well, what, get to start to trace back, like what thoughts was I having at the times when I was doubting,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I feel like I find my brain trying to like model out some of my repetitive other thoughts that are not necessarily in the direction of my goal, but certainly the ones that come up more often than not. Is it helpful to just model those out maybe like once a day or once a week, like just to see how that's affecting your goal or your process or
yes,
all of it?
totally.
I don't know.
All of the above. So, with this group, I'm never like, oh, you have to do this amount of work outside of, talking to us. But I will say, especially if you find yourself feeling stuck, and especially if you notice that you're thinking the same thought over and over, like you're stuck on one where you're like, this will never go away, and you're like, I don't remember a time when I didn't think this, and you start getting like that. That's a great opportunity to model that one out, because really, even though you're aware of it, that's an unintentional thought.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I think that's why I kind of spiral sometimes, because like, in the way of getting to my goal is a ton of other little tiny goals, like, and like I made them have a physical meeting with the guy that owns the market, and like I just let him know my open schedule, so the ball is kind of in his court to like set the time or to give some options or something. So I've been kind of stuck this week on like, we have to have that meeting to get to the next step for this to even happen. Like this is stalemate until we have the meeting. So I'm just thinking about that. So I didn't know if it would be helpful for me to just like put that on paper and kind of start like with a mini goal, since I'm focusing on it that much anyways.
Yeah. Like you might do a model just on like the mini goal, putting that in the result line.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely do that. And I think, sometimes when we get to a certain point, we start kind of getting tunnel vision, and we're like, there's only one way forward, and it has to be that this meeting has to happen. And we start like limiting other possibilities of how we can move forward.
Right, or just things that I could be doing to get to the goal that are not relying on that meeting. Or
Exactly. You're like, I can't do anything else until they do this.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly what I've been thinking. Yeah.
This is the bet. I love that you brought this up, because I just was going on a rant about this, actually. I had someone tell me recently that they didn't want to set a goal because they can't control, like, there's circumstances that are out of their control. So like, why would they set a goal when they already know that there's some circumstances that are out of their control? They might not meet it. It's not helpful to set a goal you don't have control over meeting it. What do y'all, it's like, can you relate to that? Why would you do it? Okay, so that's where I went. That's where I went, because where I'm coming from. But here's the deal. Right. There's always going to be things that are out of your control. And I'll tell you which part of the model is always out of your control is the C line, your circumstance, the situation, the facts. That's not in your control. It will never be. So it's also the only part of the model that is completely neutral. It's not positive or negative. We decide what we make that mean. We decide by choosing what we think about it. So all that to say, coming back to the point of this, setting these goals isn't to, give yourself a high five at the end if you meet it, and or beat yourself up if you don't. That's not the point of setting these goals. It might have been in some other, exercises or programs that you've been through, or just other times in life. Maybe that was what setting the goal was about. But this isn't about that. This isn't about, this will never happen. So it's a good example. Michael, if Rodan and Fields suddenly goes bankrupt next week and you can't meet this goal because Rodan and Fields doesn't even exist anymore by December 18th, we're not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, Michael failed. And she's such a failure because she didn't hit her goal. And why did she even bother? Because there's these, of course she's not in control of if this company is still around in 2 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. There's very little in our control, which is why the model is like a very empowering way of kind of applying that saying of, you know, that you want to be able to have the wisdom to know the difference of the things that are in your power to change and the things that are not. Yeah. That was a very bad recitation of that. But y'all know.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I mean. The model is a technique and a tool to differentiate between those things that we cannot control and what we can. It's a way to empower you to, first of all, see that in a visual way. And second of all, make a conscious decision about what you want to do about the things that you can control, which pretty much are what you're going to think and what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. That's it. So when you notice your brain telling you, well, I can't, meet this goal if this guy doesn't come to this meeting or set this meeting, come back to that. Yeah, you cannot control if this guy shows up or not. Right. Absolutely. What are you going to think? So you could put that, what other people do is always going to go in your C line. So you could do a model just on, I emailed him on Wednesday and he has not replied. It is Friday.
Right.
But get specific like that. Don't put in the C line like he never replies to me.
Right. Or I was even thinking like, we have not set that meeting yet. So is my action, okay, I need to reach out to a different market and just go a different direction while I'm waiting, because if that's going to follow this anyway, just how much more do I need to just take responsibility for than just like, well, we haven't had the meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's totally up to you. So one thing I want to do, because I think this is going to help you throughout the next couple weeks here. If y'all have your pad or paper or something to write on, I'm going to give you a little quick writing deal to do right now, because your commitment to this goal is crucial, and your motivation for why you want to achieve this goal and or just work towards it is extremely important to getting you to take the actions you need to take to make this result real in your life. So what I want you to do right now is start writing down as many reasons as you can think of as to why you want to work towards and achieve this goal. Why do you want this result in your life? And you might come back to thinking about too, when we set this goal, talking about, is your goal worth going after even if you fail? Because I think that'll lead you to why you want this in your life. So just as many reasons as possible. Don't stop until you hit at least, let's say like 15. Just so many reasons. They can be short, they can be longer, they can be simple. Like there's no bad reason. Everything goes. Why you want this result in your life.
I'm sorry. What are we writing down?
Got you off guard.
I had to stop for a minute, but I'm back. So
You're good. Write down every reason why you want to create this result in your life. The result being your SMART goal.
Okay. I'm going to go back to mute, but I'm still here.
Okay. I was muted when I said that. Beth, you might also think about the question that we asked last time, is your goal worth going after even if you fail? And that might lead you to a few more reasons why. Try and get as many as you can here. Trying to shoot for 15. You can get 15 reasons. What will you learn if this result comes into your life? That could give you a couple reasons why you might want it. What are some specific things you might learn if this result comes into your life? We'll take one more minute here, and it's totally fine if you don't have 15 reasons yet. Just keep going for 1 minute and then we'll share one. All right. Did anybody hit 15? It's lofty. So I know that's a high number, especially I did not give y'all a lot of time to do that. I want y'all to keep adding to this list until you get 15. And maybe by everybody sharing one, it'll give you all a couple more ideas of reasons to add to the list. Does anyone have a good one they want to share? Why they want to make this goal happen? Make this result real?
I can share. You mean to share one?
Yeah.
Okay. I said that I know this will show me something about this profession that I may not already know.
I like that because you're like
into a different part of the whole game, I guess, of what this could be.
I like that you're basically saying it's going to show me something I don't know and I don't know what it is. It's going to show me that I don't know what I don't know is all. Yeah.
Like, does working with nurses and doctors just like absolutely suck? Like, I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't think so, but I haven't done a lot of one-on-one with doctors before. So
yeah.
Am I going to hate that? Or am I going to accept it and say, well, this is just the way it is, and that's okay? We're going to find out.
You get to learn. Yeah. Do you have a good one, Michael? I'm sure you do, but do you have one you want to share?
I think for me, so we have a lot of reward programs with this. So if I hit, this certain number, I get a certain amount of commission, but also if I get a certain amount of orders, I get different, it's called milestones. And so each milestone, we get a free gift, starting from like a hat to basically a trip to Mexico, or, you know what I mean? So it just grows in each one. And so each time I hit that monthly goal, I also hit a different, I don't hit a new milestone, but I hit different miles to reach a milestone, if that makes sense. so it just keeps growing in that way. And that's exciting because those are much harder to get to than the commission goal. So it's always exciting when I can hit that and also add to the miles. So that's
good one. Yeah, I like it. What you got, Julia?
I think one of the biggest ones for me for this specific goal is, it's the one I wrote down first, is I want to produce my own artwork. You know, not just graphics that I'm commissioned to make. Like, this is just something that I made. And then put, you know, like made it into something else, kind of, you know, like. So that's a big one.
Yeah, that's huge.
Which I've made my own artwork for jobs or for commissions or, you know, but this is like for nobody, for nothing, just I made it and then I sold it.
Yeah, I like it. So y'all might all have just identified like one of your top reasons, like the reason that you originally started with of why you're like, yes, this is the result that I want to make this goal. And I think, you know, that's super important to know. And also might not be enough to keep you committed and motivated every day to take the actions that you need to take. Because some days could be extremely motivating to you. And other days you might be like, you know what? I don't even like Mexico. Just like based on whatever is going on that day, you know? And I've felt the same thing myself, and where I'm like, oh, I was so excited about Cancun and I could care less right now because of, you know, all the things that are happening, whatever it is. So that's why it's super important to have many, many, many reasons to come back to of why you want to create this result. Because y'all are kind of just getting going here, and you have short-term goals, but you've got to push to meet them. And there is a bunch of stuff that's outside of your control. So that's going to keep happening. That's the one thing I can guarantee you will happen between now and December 18th is some stuff that's unexpected and unplanned and out of your control. That I can guarantee you. Nothing else. That's it. So why don't y'all write down a few more reasons, maybe while it's fresh in your mind. Beth, come back to us when you can and write down, you know, however many more reasons you can get out of your head and onto that sheet of paper, because tomorrow, one reason is going to work for you. The next day, it's going to be a different one.
I was going to say, I have a few that, like, one is my everyday go-to, and it sounds silly, but I have an unhealthy relationship with Starbucks. And the amount of money I spend at a Starbucks is ungodly. And so to not like stress my husband out with his money, that goes on my RNF card, you know? And so that's on here. It's one of my things is to buy my Starbucks. And it's huge. And that's my almost daily, because the boys know if I don't go and get my Starbucks, I'm a coffee snob. I don't drink coffee at home. I don't like it. You know, so to me, that's like, I've got to make this so I can have that, you know?
Yeah.
And that does motivate me because, like you're saying, I mean, yeah, Mexico, it's like, oh, that's so far down the road. Is that even achievable right now? Is that, you know, those kinds of things? Or like with Christmas around the corner, you know, I've been extra spending for that. And so it's like, okay, I need to make this to pay this bill. You know what I mean? So those to me are my top two that are like, those are what's getting me going and daily, like, this is exciting and I can't run out of Starbucks money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So Beth, we're writing down more reasons why now, because whatever your top reason is might not help you every single day. You're going to need a different one on a different day. So she's like, I have all the reasons. So what other reasons are there? And maybe it's something you didn't originally think about. Maybe it's like, hey, like maybe I meet a mentor along the way, like maybe through the, you know, and that's just one that kind of goes with Beth's goal. but maybe it's some like indirect thing. Maybe it's just like, I am going to prove to myself that I can commit to sticking with something for 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be as simple as that.
That's one of mine on there.
There you go. So
Okay.
my coach has me do 25. So I will say that I'm going to start y'all with 15, but just know that, hey, you might need a different one for every single day leading up to December 18th.
Yeah.
You might rotate through 3 different ones a day. The same ones that were working for you yesterday might not work the next day.
Is it okay if some of these like kind of reach a little bit outside of the SMART goal and into like a more general, bigger goal? Or should it be super focused on just the SMART goal?
Yeah, no, it might, because like, especially I think for all of you, actually, your SMART goal that we, have just set till December 18th ties in very deeply, I think, with your long-term vision of where you want to be in 10 years. So it might be, when whatever parts of moving towards this short-term result tie into that long-term vision and the benefit of, taking a step on a mini, this might be a mini goal for you and your big goal.
Okay.
And I think it is for you, Beth, in your specific instance. Yeah. Like, this totally is one of the many quantity wise goals that you will probably end up setting and moving towards to reach your big one, your big vision.
I will say too, before I even got my SMART goal done, Beth was on my mind all week. And so I contacted my aunt and asked her about Hospice Atlanta, like with her staff. And she said that they deal with them a lot. Like, for instance, they just had 3 patients go home, with them to have at-home care. She says, but it's the social workers that deal with the marketing rep. So she's not personally dealing with them, but I see her twice this week, and I'm going to try and see, even if it's a social worker's number or something, but
anything.
You're definitely on my mind. And so
thank you. That's
that. But yeah, so I'll talk to her and let you know if, like I said, even if it's one of the social workers or something to, see.
That's so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Maybe that's the only reason I'm in this group, who knows?
Who knows?
I have learned a lot though, so that's not the only reason.
We're all here to help each other.
Yeah.
So however many reasons you have right now is awesome. If you can also add to that list tomorrow, the next day, throughout the weeks or any time leading up to the 18th, you might just like have another reason pop in your head, like, oh, that's going to be awesome if this result happens, like this other reason. Add to this list, and then keep this list somewhere you can see it. Maybe check it in the morning and just like read through it and pick one you're going to use that today. You can also use this list if you go to sit down and start doing the things you need to do to create this result, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, I don't really feel like it. I'd rather watch Netflix. I'd rather go to Starbucks. So, whatever the thing is that you do, Be like, okay, I'm just going to read this list. And just see if one of those reasons can be enough for you to be like, okay, I can go do that one thing. So that's how you're going to use this list from here forward, is any of those instances. Also, I know that we started a little bit late today, but I also want to be respectful of everybody's time. So if anybody has to drop off in the next 2 minutes, totally understand. If y'all want to stay on for another, till like 8:10 or so, I have one more thing that we can do together. So up to you either way.
I can stay.
Okay, cool. We'll go for it then. So now I want y'all to take the list that you already started in the action line for your result model, the list of things that you need to do to create your result. So you already have a couple things because you've already put a couple actions into the action line of your result model. And I can pull up yours, Julia, if you need to see yours from last week too. So start with that list, and then I want you to add to that list everything you could do that might help you make this result a reality in your life. So now you have to get kind of creative. Like, what could you do this week before our next call next week? What could you do that could create this result in your life? We don't know if it will, because we don't know the future and we don't know exactly how to create that result because we haven't done it yet for this
So
month.
you want us to list like a list of action items?
Yes.
Okay.
List of actions that you can take that could create that result. You already all have at least 2.
And the result is from our SMART goal thing we set?
The result is your SMART goal. The
Okay.
result is whatever your SMART goal is you set for the month or time span. What are all the things that you could do? Try and be specific as you can. If you can, be specific. So like Michael, for you, you might get more specific about the people that you want to reach out to, potential new prospects. Who do you want to pass out your business card and samples to in this next week? Who could you? And like Julia, for you, we're talking about, it's like you feel like you need to wait on this guy and make this meeting set. Well, what are all the other things that you could do? This is where you have to get curious. You have to be like, what could it be like? What might get me that result? And same for you, Beth. Like, you're sending all these emails, you have no idea. Maybe people are seeing them, maybe they're not. Like, if you were feeling curious, what might you try? We're just going to write for one more minute here. Beth's like, I'm done. Close the book.
I mean, I have like a few. I don't know how many. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm holding back because I'm going on vacation next week, starting tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do any of this. It's a long car ride. I'll get some of it done.
Yeah, yeah. And this week is definitely a different week.
Yeah.
But you do have a list going here, and you don't have to do all of this by next week. But we also, I believe we're not talking till Wednesday next week. So you actually have more than a week till we talk next. We cut you short on the last couple weeks, but next time you're actually going to have like 3 full business days during a business week. Although Beth, I know your schedule is a little different than that. You're like, I don't care about Mondays. But so you'll have a good amount of time to do this, but also this is going to be a running list for you to come back to. You're going to think of something else. You're going to be like, you're going to lay down tonight. One of you is. You're going to text me tomorrow. I can already feel it. You're going to lay down tonight and you're going to be like, oh, wait, I could totally do this other thing. Add it. Just add it to the list. Get it out of your head. So last 5 minutes here, 6 minutes, I want you to pick the thing on the list that you think is going to be hardest or you're least likely to do. Michael's like, wait, why'd I write that down? Whatever the thing in your head that you're looking at, like, I'd love it to do it and it'd probably be great, but pick that thing. Put a circle around it, star it, whatever you want to do. And now I want y'all to do a model. And you're going to do it in your book. And you're going to write, I'll show you the little letters here again. I'll share my screen. This is what you're going to write. You're going to write on each line, CTFAR.
And is this the...
And now in the A line, the action line, I want you to write that action. The one that you circled, the one that you starred.
No.
You're going to get to know yourself quite nicely. Now I want you to copy that entire thing exactly. So again, for the second time now, write CTFAR below where you just wrote it or on the next page. And write the same action. So the A line is going to be the same.
Okay.
So in the first model that you wrote out, I want you to write what you think right now about doing that action. Whether it's like, this will be hard, or I don't want to do this, or this is the action I'm least likely to take. Whatever thought you have where you were like identifying when I was like, pick the hard one, whatever your thought was, even if it was just like, this is the hard one, that's fine. It doesn't have to be complicated. Or if it could be like, this would be great, but not likely. This is going to be your unintentional model. So with that thought, I want you to write, how does it feel when you're thinking that thought about that action? then add, what is that thought about? What is the fact that you're thinking that thought about?
The circumstance?
Exactly. That's going to go in the circumstance line. Whatever is a neutral fact that if you were a fly on the wall, you'd agree.
I'm getting a little caught up here with this one.
What's your thought?
I don't feel like starting this now.
And what is the thought about?
The action? Is that what you mean?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Tell me what the action is.
Draft potential introduction email.
Okay. So that's and the feeling?
Guilty.
Guilty. So you're thinking, I don't feel like starting this, feeling guilty. And the action is, in this case, in your unintentional model, all of you can draw a circle with a line through it, because this is the action that you're not taking. You're not going to take this action when you're thinking this thought and feeling this way. You already identified that because you're like, I already preemptively know, like, I'm not going to do that one. So in that A line, you're actually, in this case, writing an inaction. This is what you know you won't do when you think that thought.
Which is the result.
Let's model yours out. I'm going to write yours out on here. The feeling is guilty. Action is not. You said starting a draft.
Yeah.
The result is don't have a draft. The circumstance, it is a little confusing working backwards to the circumstance. So you're thinking the thought, I don't feel like starting the draft. The circumstances may be something like, and this might not be it, but the circumstance is something like, I've never created a draft like this before. Like I didn't create this. I've never done this. This is new. It's a new product.
Like the first thing that goes through my head is more like, I just got off work and I'm tired. But that's like
another thought.
Yeah.
Could it tie into the trip though? Like, because she's got that on her mind and she's going into a trip and that's a fact. Would that go into it?
Yeah, it could absolutely be going on a trip.
Okay, that's more like
have a SMART goal, due deadline December 18th.
Yep.
That's a fact. You are going on a trip. You do have a SMART goal. Your thought is, I don't feel like starting the draft. You feel guilty. You're not going to start your draft. The result is you don't have a draft. So you're thinking, I don't feel like starting it, is proving your result that you didn't start it, you don't have it. So in the next model, your second model, go ahead and write the same circumstance in that one. Because when you're switching from an unintentional to an intentional, the circumstance is always going to stay the same. So you're filling this in piecemeal. So now you've got two models, at least maybe the first one's completely done, the unintentional, but both of them have the same circumstance. And in the first one, you're going to have in the action line that you're not taking that action. And in the second one, you're going to have that same action in the action line that you are taking it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now in the second one, you get to pick a new thought that's going to create a new feeling that's going to drive you to take that action. So how are you going to have to feel to start taking that action? Might be confident, might be committed, might be motivated, might be courageous, might be content, might be calm,
Rested.
What was it?
Rested.
Rested. What do you have to think to feel rested?
You just need sleep.
So maybe the thought is, I don't need sleep. But, that only works again if it's believable. And this is where I was like messaging with Michael. Whatever thought you put in that second model, make sure it's one that you believe, not one that you feel like you're forcing. Like, Michael, if you could really believe, like, I really don't need any more sleep right now. If you could believe that, it'd be great. And then you could choose really that.
I think that would solve my life problems.
If you don't, then you got to find a new one. I am tired. This is my favorite thing to do is stuff like this. Add, and that's okay to the end.
Mm-hmm.
I am tired and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like starting the draft and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it anyway. Like, you don't have to feel like starting the draft to start the draft.
And that's kind of where the second one went for sure. Because my thought was, I will feel more relaxed if I just do it.
Yeah.
So,
once it's started. Yeah. Yeah. Courage only comes in the presence of fear, right? Like, you can't even have courage if there isn't fear present. So it's just choosing to do things anyway, sometimes when we'd rather not. And this is like a brain hack for you. So if y'all want, you are welcome to take a picture of your models, send it into the group. We can all take a look at them. You can just text it to me if you want to just text it to me. You're welcome to. We're just hitting 8:15 now, so I think this is a good place to kind of leave things this time. And this time you got to all do your own models, which is a little different than what we've done in the past. So I will put this recording up as well, but I'm not going to add, I don't have any new documents to add to the page. So yeah, stop this screen share. Y'all did awesome today, as usual, showing up in full force. I love it.
Well, I was a bit distracted at first. Sorry.
No, you're good.
My poor manager.
You're all good. We all made it. I had internet snafus too, so it's no worries. So I'm not going to see y'all till after Thanksgiving. So y'all have an awesome holiday, and talk to you next Wednesday.
Hey, y'all have a good holiday too, and be safe, Beth.
I will. We'll be real careful.
Yes. Be safe out there.
Y'all too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.